Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. It's Allan Labucan here. I'm the founder, show host for the Allan Reports. I've got several companies, stocks to talk about today. Some recommendations about seasonality. So let's get right into it. Oh, before I do, I always want to say a thank you to my sponsors. As you can see on the screen, it's Sirius.com, TudorGold.com, or Tudor-Gold.com, Wolfden Resources, and Premier Gold Mines. Those are my my sponsors for the website, and I encourage you to go check out their websites, including the companies where I'm the president and CEO. Alset Minerals Corporation, alsetminerals.com, and advancedgold.ca. Okay, so we'll get right into some stocks. Yeah, let's get we'll deal with the stocks first. One of the stocks that has been doing extremely well since it came public, we picked up on it the first day of trading. The stock symbol is HIVE. Company's name is HIVE.Blockchain Technologies. This company is involved in the blockchain, digital mining of currencies, and in fact, HIVE is partnered up with Genesis Mining, and Genesis Mining is the one that's the largest the largest digital currency miner in the world. So they've got a very good partnership there. Really top-notch people. They, within, I don't know, 2 weeks of being publicly traded, they did a $35 million bought deal financing. That financing is going to allow them to buy another digital mine, currency mine, digital currency mine. And what really attracts me to the company is the leadership of Genesis, who's also involved now with HIVE blockchain. Marco, this gentleman, I think this kid, young guy, has a tremendous future in front of him in technology. When I listened to him, it was kind of a bit of a mixture of technology whiz kid and the mining business of all things. And what I really liked about what I heard from him was that he was talking about keeping the cost low. The reason you want to keep the cost low is if the price of those coins move up and down over a cycle, they don't just all move up. It looks like that right now, but I think there will come times when you see some corrections. Now, when you see those corrections, it's those low-cost producers in the mining business that are able to make money while the price is down. Same thing here with this HIVE blockchain. And plus, I'm really starting to hear things like credit cards that are going to be allowing blockchain, and Amazon. We're on the verge of this digital currency quite possibly turning into a real currency that you can use for transactions. Plus, there's the blockchain technology side of it, which lends itself to many industries. So HIVE is one I've been banging the desk since they started trading, and I think I'll be banging the desk for a long time, because when these kind of companies have this kind of potential in technology and they can realize that potential, they have the realistic hopes to be valued in the multi-billions. And I think this company is in that ballpark. You know, still have a lot of growth ahead of them to watch, but you know, so far so good. The next symbol or stock I want to talk to you about is Sabina, SBB. Sabina is the next big takeover in the gold mining sector, as far as I can see. They have a very unique situation up in Nunavut, of a very high-grade discovery that has lots of exploration potential still left in it. And they've been drilling and coming up with good results. I think with a good surge in the price of gold, that SBB will perform well in that surge. which I see coming. But I also think that is the kind of action that would bring out one of the majors to want to make a bid for them. I think that Agnico Eagle is the likely takeover company for SBB, but I wouldn't put Goldcorp out of the equation, or many other. This could be one that sees something unique we don't see much these days in the mining sector on a takeover, when you have more than one or two bidders. The last time I saw that was in the uranium space with Hathor, so you never know. This is a world-class gold mine. There are not very many of them. In fact, later I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some trends that are happening in gold, which suggests that these miners need a project like what Sabina has very badly. And I think they'll pay a premium for that. So Sabina is one I consider that you really is a core holding until they're taken over, kind of a play. Next company, this is one I've really been bullish on lately. It's GT Gold. GTT is their stock symbol. Another topic I'm going to talk about later is seasonality and tax loss selling. And I think that when it comes to GTT, I'm not too worried about that. The company probably has, they're still drilling, and they might be drilling for another 10 days or so up there in the Golden Triangle, but they're going to have 50 plus holes to report. That could take them a month and a half. We could be looking at November, late November, still seeing results from them. And that's why I think that they could buck the trend of the winter softness for stocks that are involved in the Golden Triangle. There's also potential for some winter news. When you have an exciting project like this, what I would expect to see over the winter is some big major gold mining companies investing in the company. I mean, if I was running a big gold company right now, I'd be trying to get an interest in that project. But I think the folks at GTT don't really need that a partner right now. I don't think they're going to have any problems raising money, and at a good valuation, so they can still keep their stock relatively tight. So lots of news coming up, plus the potential for winter spring news. I think that GTT at these valuations is very reasonable, and the fact that they've got some more news, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out as early as tomorrow morning or Tuesday, like it's imminent, some news for them right now. So keep an eye on GTT. Couple of stocks I wanted to talk a little bit about. One of them's one of my sponsors, Premier Gold. I think that we're going to be looking at much better gold prices going forward. And one of the technical things that I'm looking at right now is that gold, after the big move it made up to 1,350, has come down to just slightly under 1,300. Now, the tinfoil hat wearing gold bugs out there, they think every time gold goes down, oh my God, it's a conspiracy. The federals, the central bankers of the world are trying with all their might to keep tiny little gold markets suppressed. I think that's a bunch of lunacy, but I don't get too worried on the pullbacks. In fact, I think the pullbacks during a bull market are as important as the surges. And in the pullback that I'm seeing is very healthy right now. It's coming up to where on the way up, it kind of took a little while at the 1,300 before it broke loose. And now I think that since it's come back, it's now back to around that 1,300, what was formerly resistance. I'm hoping that this is support, which I think it is, and from here we take another move up. Now, having said that, and been very bullish on gold for a long time, as everybody knows, I was right early in the turnaround in early 2016, predicted it before it actually happened. You can go see my past shows to confirm that. Right now, I think the play on gold is actually silver. Silver is basically, since gold started turning around back in early 2016, it moved up, but just slightly, and has basically been going sideways for this whole year pretty much. And I really think that gold has a lot of, silver has a lot of catching up to do while gold is performing better. So the trouble with gold, silver is finding a lot of juniors that are involved in silver projects in good jurisdictions, excuse me. And that's why I'm so excited about my company over there, Advanced Gold. We recently added an old silver mine in Mexico that's in an extremely good location. There's a 10-kilometer fault that at one end of the fault is a 65,000 ton per day operation. You move closer to the head frame of our Tabasqueña mine, and you find a big mine that Milagros was very high grade silver. Keep going, and along the fault for about another 8 kilometers from their head frame to our head frame at Tabasqueña, and you run into our project. We've got 2 kilometers of outcropping silver epithermal veins. We think that continues, and we're going to do some exploration on that fairly soon. So company only has 10.5 million shares out, and a good silver project. Those, as I said, are difficult to find, and I'm very bullish on silver. So I'd invite you to check out my company, Advanced Gold. Another company that's recently had some attention, they were a very well followed stock for a while. They had a nice run up. Adamera, I had them on the show, on a show around a year, last fall actually. They were trading at about 7 cents. They had been doing a lot of preliminary work. Recently, they've had some drill holes that are starting to confirm that preliminary work that they had done to look for new discoveries was starting to be a proof of concept. Now they're back down to that 7-8 level, and I think that this is a good time to be looking at them, and that's why I made them a pick recently on the show. And I just wanted to highlight them again because they're still only trading at about 9 cents. Companies run by Mark Kolobaba. I'm trying to get him on the show. I'm trying to get Kevin Keogh from GTT on a show next week, hopefully. So there's some picks for you, as well as what I think is happening with silver and gold. I wanted to talk a little bit about seasonality. We're just getting into the first week of October, and already I'm hearing people talking about tax loss selling season. And I think one point that I wanted to make about these seasonality type indicators is that each year you have to look at sort of what the environment is like at that particular time. If you're in a bear market and you go for gold and junior mining stocks, and you go into the tax loss selling season, you're most definitely going to get weakness. On the other hand, if you go through the tax loss selling season and there is optimism in the price of gold, gold's moving up. And another point I want to make about this year is that there's some exciting new discoveries. You've got GT Gold with their new discovery. NVO, Novo has the market's imagination running wild. You know, there's some really interesting new exciting plays out there that could also enhance the potential for this to be not that much of a tax loss selling season. what I'm getting at is I think that gold is going, the gold performance between here and the end of the year is going to sort of nullify the tax loss selling for a lot of gold companies, especially the best gold companies. And I'm not just talking, don't get me wrong and think that when I say the best, I mean the biggest. The biggest doesn't always mean the best. Even in the big major mining companies, there's a difference between them all. How they keep their costs at a minimum, what they do with their cash, free cash that they generate. That's how you separate them, and you separate them as well in the mid-tier and the juniors. But if you stick to the quality in those various different sizes, I think you're going to not have to worry too much this year, 2017, about the tax loss selling season. There's a stock out there that has been coming up a lot in my chats online and with friends. Novo Gold has been one that I brought to the viewers just recently, 2-3 weeks ago, that is already significantly higher than where I came in, and I came in late to the party compared to some of the people. This 6-8 months, just a few months ago, this company was trading at like 60-70 cents, folks. Now it's trading at $6 and up above that. And I just want to make a comment to anybody that's holding this at cheaper prices. This is a lottery ticket type play. It's either going to hit it way out of the park or it's going to be a failure. And so you have a situation where, you know, like I said, some people are in this and made 10 times their money in a very short period of time. For anybody that's in it at cheaper prices and hasn't taken a good portion, if not all of their cash off of the table at this point in time, you're making a big mistake. And I say that even if this does turn out to be another Witwatersrand 2.0. I'm skeptical about that because just because this conglomerate rock has gold and it does go on forever. These ore bodies are not alike. They have ways of pinching and swelling. Grades can be different in different parts of these large conglomerate type bodies. And so I really think that for anybody who's in this stock, right now, the most important thing is to reduce your risk of playing the round trip. The risk of the round trip at this point in time is much worse than the worry about, let's say you sell half your position. And now they find, Novo finds the next Witwatersrand. Stock goes ballistic. Are you going to be crying about that stock that you sold to take your risk off the table, and now you have a zero cost base and your stock just went to $50? If you do, you're in the wrong business. This is not the place for you to be investing your money. If this is, and you happen to get really, really lucky and it turns out to be the wits, be careful with the money you make off of that, because you're asking for trouble. I say that even if it turns out to be the next WITS 2.0, even if it's 2.1.5 or something like that, taking money off the table at this point in time and taking your risk and your cost per share down to zero is the smartest thing you can do. If this thing is WITS 2.0 or 0, you're going to make so much money off the other half of your stock, you shouldn't worry about leaving money on the table. The worst part would be to ride that thing all the way back down to what you paid for it, and when you could have locked in a whole lot of gains. So that's my advice on NVO. I don't think anybody should be holding a very big cost per share on this one as aggressively as it's moved. Now, having said that, there's another company that trades on the Australian exchange called Artemis Resources. Now, Artemis Resources has a whole pile of stock out. 400 and some million. It's a thing with these Australian deals. They all seem to have 400 million shares out. But if it is a Witwatersrand 2.0, Artemis is partnered up with most of the ground that's involved in that WITS 2.0 story. So, you know, that's another way to look at playing this home run. Now, with that one having 400 million shares out, you know, how much it can move compared to Novo, which has a lot less stock out, well, that we'll see. I just wanted to mention that as a possibility for people to look at a way to get a ticket for that Witwatersrand 2.0 lottery that's going on right now. Since I started my reports in 2005, I've talked a lot about the declining head grades in mines, the declining grades and discoveries, the reality that companies had to go into further, deeper into countries that are more risky. And why I talked about this was because I thought that since 2005, we were moving closer to a point where we'd reached peak production of gold. Now, I'm not talking about peak gold, meaning that we've mined out all the gold. What I'm talking about is peak production, that we sort of physically hit the max of what can be mined each year. You've got to also look at, in addition to these declining head grades at mines and declining grade of discoveries, you also have to look at the replacement of those old mines that are being mined every year. And that we're now at the point where we've reached that peak production. You're going to start seeing this in the numbers coming out of the gold miners in the coming months. But at most, we're going to see it go sideways. I actually think it's going to go into a decline. So here's another reason to be very bullish on the price of gold. While we're reaching peak production, we're certainly not reaching peak demand. On the demand side, the two biggest consumers of gold, the physical stuff, are China and India. Both those countries have restrictions on how much gold can be imported, how much gold the people can buy, and yet they still dominate the gold space dramatically. I often say if those restrictions weren't around for gold, you'd probably see the price much, much higher, because the Chinese and the Indians have an insatiable appetite for it, so you know they don't stop buying it, and that's the supply is in good shape. And now you've got the other situation, which is the U.S. dollar. I'm an extreme bear on the U.S. dollar, have been since Trump, before Trump. I've been saying for a few years now that, or a couple of years now, that U.S. dollar was overbought. That ended when Trump took over. It's been on the decline ever since. Sort of follows his approval ratings. And I don't think that that's over with. The U.S. dollar, the Federal Reserve is painted into a corner where they can't do anything to lower or raise interest rates. The U.S. debt is now over $21 trillion. That's national debt. Household debt is at about probably 26, 27 by now. You've got close to 50 trillion reasons why interest rates aren't going very far, and I also think 50 trillion reasons why you don't want to be a bull on the US dollar. A much better thing to be bullish on is gold, silver, copper, as you know, those kind of things are where I think you could get exceptional performance as the US dollar continues to decline. So that's my show for today. I hope I gave you some good things to think about and go do your homework on. On that note, you have a great day. Oh, before I close, I always want to remind people that my shows are only for information purposes. It's important for you to do your homework and speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye and talk to you soon.